Hi there. I trust you've been enjoying these catch-ups and that they've been a real blessing to you, and just as you're walking with Jesus and walking with others. If I was to say the name Thomas Edison, you'd probably know who I was talking about. In fact, you'd probably even say, oh, he's the guy who invented the light globe, and maybe some other inventions as well. But if I was to say the name Kia Silverbrook, you'd probably say, who? And understandably, Kia Silverbrook is an inventor, along with Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison had about 1,000 patents that he'd discovered. Kia Silverbrook, he's an Australian guy, but he's invented over 10,000 things that he's actually taken to patent. But we don't really know him. And isn't it interesting to think that someone like that, who's an Australian, born in 1958, only 10 years older than me, and we don't even know him, and he's changed your life and mine, and you might ask how. He's invented things such as LCD screens. He's invented a lot of the things that go into our mobile phone. So a lot of the applications of your mobile phone and even internet are due to Kia Silverbrook. And you may not even know the guy at all. I didn't. Didn't mean anything to me, that name. And isn't it interesting? When you think about people that are unknown, I think of names like Peter, the disciple of Jesus. If I was to say to you, tell me something about Peter, you probably could. You'd probably be able to tell me different aspects about his interactions with Jesus and his interactions with other people. But if I was to say to you, what about Bartholomew? In fact, you might even not know whether Bartholomew was actually a disciple. And you might have to check up in a reference and go to Matthew 10, verse 2, and look through the list of disciples and say, okay, Bartholomew was one of the disciples, handpicked by Jesus, but relatively unknown. Think about someone like Kia Silverbrook, who actually changed our life, my life and yours, because of the interaction that we have with our phones and the mobile devices and our televisions, but yet relatively unknown. But that doesn't mean that someone like Bartholomew didn't do anything great either. And this morning I just really want to be an encouragement to you as you think about even your own life, my life. You might feel like you're quite insignificant and don't actually amount to a great deal or have a great influence on many other people, or really you don't have a great influence for Jesus in the lives of others. But I just really want to encourage you. There's a few verses I just want to look at with you this morning as we reflect about what Jesus has said to us. I want to take a look at in the book of Mark. Jesus said to us in Mark chapter 10, "For the Son of Man did not come to serve, did not come to be served, but to serve. And his life was a ransom for many." And indeed, in Luke he says there, "Indeed there are those who shall be last, and the first." Sorry, let me say it again. "There are those who are last who will be first, and the first will be last." And we just really see there Jesus really stamping the fact that it's not always people that are prominent or that have that limelight. They're actually the ones that are going to be given some notoriety in the sense of their faith and what they can do and the influence they have on others. I just want to encourage you also, if we look over at 1 Corinthians chapter 12, where Jesus used the analogy of a body, there's some real encouragement there when we think about just where we fit as we walk with Jesus and walk with others. Let me read verse 22 out of chapter 12. The eye cannot say to the hand, I do not need you. The head cannot say to the feet, I don't need you. On the contrary, those parts of the body that seem weaker are indispensable. And you might feel this morning that maybe you're insignificant or not a major part of what's going on in the body of God. But let me encourage you, even those microbes, those tiny microscopic parts of the body, Jesus said, you are indispensable. And I just want to encourage each one of us this morning that as the body, as world changes, just like Kia Silverbrook, you also can make an impact. And you mightn't be known, But that doesn't mean that you're actually not going to be a world changer. You just never know. The person that you're walking alongside of, or the person that you're discipling, might be the next person to do something incredible for God. And that's not to say what you're doing is not. But I just want to encourage you, don't feel insignificant or that what you're doing doesn't attribute to anything. I just really want to encourage you, just from those words that Jesus said, you are indispensable. And I just want that to be an encouragement to you today as you walk with Jesus. Thanks very much.